Good day, everyone. I'm Joy Angelique Delphine, and I will be presenting Globalization and Leadership Challenges. The objectives of this presentation are to analyze various leadership theories and to provide an overview of the importance of leadership in addressing the challenges of globalization. In the age of globalization, the study of public leadership is given importance because present day leadership cannot afford to limit its actions within its borders. Globalization refers to the shift toward a more integrated and interdependent world economy. Modern leaders need to think globally in terms of any public policy which is interconnected with the world at large. Leadership is an understanding of the operation and effectiveness of an organization. Here are some of the definition of leadership based on various authors. Rost viewed leadership as the influence of images portrayed in Hollywood, folklore, and Old West. Yamil and Oakley defined leadership as a social process of dynamic collaboration between individuals and organization members with intellectual and social interactions. Vogel and Massel defined and emphasized the importance of leadership considering the changes in the socio-economic situation and the financial squeeze and austerity measures. Cohen and others defined leadership as an ability to get others to do what they don't want to do and like it. Leadership is considered to be the influence of a person to get followers, get something extraordinary happen. And lastly, Schermerhorn defines leadership as a process of using power to obtain interpersonal influence. To understand the challenges of leadership under globalization, I will be discussing different leadership theories. Let us first begin with traits theory. Traits theory suggests that certain inborn or innate qualities and characteristics make someone a leader. As the saying goes, leaders are born, not made. In this theory, the major leadership traits are intelligence, self confidence, determination, integrity, and sociability. It is said that when you have all these traits, you are definitely a leader. However, these traits are considered inherent and not capable of being acquired. The next theory of leadership is skills theory. Skills theory focuses on skills and abilities rather than personal characteristics. According to Robert Katz, skills are based on accomplishment and traits are inherent. This means that certain abilities, knowledge, and skills can be learned or developed. The success of a leader is evaluated by what the leader can accomplish and by focusing on what they can do instead of who they are. This theory allows leadership to be available for everyone instead of a select few with the right leadership traits. Robert Katz, who is an advocate of this theory, argued that an effective leadership or management depend on three basic personal skills. These skills are technical, human, and conceptual. Technical skills are the ability to use the tools and knowledge for the efficiency of an organization. Human skills are the ability to deal with people and focus on interpersonal skills, while conceptual skills are the ability to deal with ideas of problem solving. The next theory presented is situational theory. Situational theory considers leadership based on different types of situations, directive behavior and supportive behavior. Both directive and supportive behaviors are based on a two-way communication between the leaders and the subordinates, and the leader evaluates the situation based on the subordinates' characteristics in terms of their ability and competence. The difference between the two is that behavior Directive behavior focuses on providing direction on how to accomplish the goals and who is responsible for the task, while a supportive behavior focuses on the facilitation of goals by making the subordinates feel comfortable about their tasks. The next theory is path goal theory. Path goal theory defines how leadership motivates subordinates to achieve a task. The leadership style of this theory is based on motivational needs of the subordinates. Another leadership theory is the leader member exchange theory, or LMX theory. This theory conceptualizes leadership as a process that is centered on the interactions between the leader and the subordinates. The leaders treat followers in a collective way as a group. These groups are called or divided into two: the in group and the out group. The in group and out group status is based on how well subordinate works with the leader and vice versa. So, what is the difference between the in group and the out group? As mentioned, the in group and the out group are defined by their interaction with their leaders and vice versa. So, the in groups are considered those that are close to the leader. Because of this, they are given more information, influence, confidence, and concern from the leader. They are also considered to be more dependable, highly involved, and communicative. Of course, they are favored by the leader, while the outgroup are the less compatible with the leader. They are less favored by the leader and they receive fewer valued resources from the leader. Sometimes they are given less tasks to accomplish because of the influence of the in group, that the leaders have more confidence with the in group rather than the out group. This group are considered to be those that do not interact well with their leaders. The next theory presented is team leadership theory. This theory focuses on accomplishing the organization's tasks or motivating the team to achieve their goals. This theory does not discriminate between the leader and the other team members, and it considers the contribution of every member to be critical for the success of the organization. So, how do leaders deal with globalization? Which type of leadership is really necessary to deal with the challenges of globalization? In the succeeding slides, I will be discussing few leadership types and their importance as they respond to globalization. There is a constant demand for strategic leadership considering the complex challenges of the world. Strategic leadership is the management that involves taking the strategic planning process and extending it into an ongoing management paradigm of anticipating and managing organizational change and environmental uncertainty. Leadership must deal with globalization visions, the demand for outsourcing, competitiveness, ethical leadership, and transformational leadership. Strategic leaders should have visionary skills to predict the future and take actions in dealing with environmental challenges. A strategic leader must deal with globalization by undertaking a thorough SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis means strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Globalization and new technology have replaced many government services and tasks. So the leadership is responsible for coming up with appropriate actions to deal with these threats. Threats can arise due to political, economic, and technological changes. Any act of terrorism, war, and political turmoil can disrupt smooth operations. Leadership is responsible for taking actions to deal with the situation and take actions to minimize the effect. Another threat is economic fluctuation. This can pose serious threats to the well being of the society. A major recession can ruin the lives of many people with devastating results. The leadership has the responsibility to be prepared for the possible consequences of economic disaster. And lastly, the other threat is technological change. Technology can replace products or services, thus, could lead to unemployment. A strategic leader needs to predict the situation and take measures rather than react to the situation. The leader must evaluate the opportunities and threats to be prepared for the situation and make appropriate decisions. Another type of leadership is participative leadership. Leadership can make a significant contribution by encouraging the various actors to participate. According to Wood, participative leadership is necessary because it involves maintaining relationship with different constituents. A common good might emerge out of the conflicting situations and goals. Ross also mentioned or defined participative leadership as an influence relationship among leaders and their collaborators who intend real changes that reflect their mutual purpose. There are four major elements of leadership based on the definition by Rost. One is the multi-directional influence, the existence of multiple actors, the commitment of leaders and collaborators to make change, and the common purpose of the leadership. One of the challenges, I believe, of leadership is how to make employees participate. People would be reluctant to participate if the leadership cannot create an environment of positive benefits. People must also see the results of participation in policy making and performance evaluation. People should have a good perception of a genuine participation to be worthy of their time and effort. Another type of leadership is the adaptive leadership. The adaptive leadership proposes for different leadership strategies based on the different situations. Type 1 situation is characterized by absence of complex problems and it does not require much of the role of the leader. Type 2 requires some limited leadership and type 3 has a need for a redefinition of the problem, a high degree of political expertise, greater sensitivity, and the greater involvement of the public. There is a possibility that nowadays type 3 situation is prevalent, especially in a globalized world. It is really fast changing. The leaders need to adapt to changing circumstances. In a globalized world, leaders need to develop important skills to deal with the challenges. One of the most frequently asked questions are, what are the type of leadership skills necessary for today's world? According to the book Globalization and the Challenges Faced in Public Policy, there are four skills needed to be a good leader. Number one is trustworthiness. Trustworthiness means public leaders must earn the respect and trust of the public. If people cannot trust their leaders, they will be reluctant to provide obedience. Another skill is being innovative. In a fast changing environment, leadership needs to be innovative in dealing with the changes. A leader must be committed to the development of skills and knowledge so that the employees can adapt to the changing circumstances and take appropriate action. Another skill is knowledge management skill. This includes knowledge for the welfare of the organization. Leaders need the knowledge to solve the problems faced by the organization. Leaders need to provide and process the knowledge for decision making, and they are responsible for creating an environment of constant learning among the employees and the public. And lastly, team leadership skills. The implementation of public policy requires cooperation among the teams to accomplish the goals of the organization. One of the issues in the globalized world is how to manage a network of teams connected by interdependent functions. In the age of globalization, there is a need for cultural competence and leadership. Governance in a globalized world requires an understanding of global culture and behavior. Governance involves the interaction among different individuals across different cultures. In an interdependent world with the involvement of international and domestic culture, it is crucial for leadership to understand world culture. This will allow the leaders to come up with a global vision and lay down the ways to implement it. Ethnocentrism and prejudice can stand in the way of understanding different cultures. Scholars argue that global leaders need to develop cross cultural competencies and behavior to address challenges brought about by globalization. Aside from leadership skills, leaders also need these nine cultural characteristics in dealing with the challenges brought about by globalization. Uncertainty avoidance. Extent to which society, organization, or group relies on established social norms, rituals, and procedures in order to avoid uncertainty. 2. Power distance. It is a degree of a group's expectation and agreement on the inequality in sharing of power. 3. Institutional collectivism. These refer to the desire of overall societal interests rather than individual goals and accomplishments. In group collectivism. This measures the extent of people expressing pride, loyalty, and cohesiveness in their organizations or families. Gender egalitarianism. Gender egalitarianism measures gender equality. It determines the extent of gender equality in organizations, homes, and broader communications. Assertiveness measures the extent of assertiveness and aggressiveness in social relationships. It measures how culture reflects the nature of toughness in the society. Future orientation reflects how people are oriented towards future well being and future planning. It measures the extent of their concerns about the future rather than present gratification. Performance orientation. This measures the extent of rewards based on performance and excellence. It implies the extent of the people being rewarded for challenging goals and achieving them. And lastly, home orientation. This reflects a culture rewarding people for fairness, generosity, and kindness. It emphasizes behavior relating to social support and community values. Presented are the references for the presentation that I discussed. Before I end this presentation, I would just like to say that everyone can be a leader as long as you have the heart to lead and passion for service, everything else will follow. Leaders can both be born and made as long as they develop the appropriate skills and characteristics in facing different kinds of challenges. There is no one theory or skill that can face globalization challenges alone. It can be a combination of different theories, skills, and characteristics. I think that leaders should also give importance to the contribution of each and every member of the organization, and with everything in mind, with everything that we have analyzed and the theories and skills that we have learned and developed, I don't think that there are challenges that cannot be dealt with. So that ends the my presentation for today. I hope you learned a thing or two. Thank you. Thank you very much, and God bless everyone.